Hey friend, ever felt stuck between the old and the new? Like you're straddling this grand canyon between who you used to be and who you're becoming, between what you've created in the past and what's calling to you now. It's the space between your old artist identity and the new one that isn't even fully formed yet. Like it hasn't really come into focus. Often this can leave us feeling stuck in this voiceless place of limbo between not anymore and not yet. Whether that looks like a period of silence where you haven't been singing, you haven't been making music, or you just can't yet articulate all these new things that you're feeling and experiencing, or whether that looks like just trying to keep doing the old stuff, but it's not working for you anymore. Like it's just not lighting you up the way it once did. Or you're trying to navigate this new phase of your life. You're in a new season and you're wondering what that means for your art. Well, let's talk about it. This uncomfortable in-between and how to navigate finding your voice again in a season of change. Here we go. Welcome to Reawaken Your Voice. I'm Lainey Prendeville Crawford, holistic voice coach, singer, song weaver. I believe the song in your heart holds medicine for yourself and for the world. And yet too often, something happens along the way. We shut down our voice and our song goes unsung. Whether you stopped singing years ago or have always harbored an unrealized dream to start, if you're ready to finally give voice to those unsung songs in your heart, then take my hand as I guide you to free yourself from the inner critic, reignite your creativity, find your courage, sing with confidence, and reawaken those dormant parts of yourself aching for a revival. So dust off your songbooks, tune up your guitar, bust out your singing bowls, your shakers, your drum. Actually, all you really need is your voice, your breath, open ears, and an open heart. Let's play. I've noticed that the times in life when I felt like I lost my voice were often the times when I was going through these big changes, like a big move or a new baby, a painful loss. In these life transitions, these big life events, we can often experience this feeling of voicelessness because there's so much uncertainty. There's this overall lack of clarity. Like what may have been clear, what you may have expressed with a full voice in total confidence before, now feels like the ground is breaking and shaking and quaking around you. Like you're no longer on sturdy ground and everything is changing and shifting and rearranging and readjusting, and all of this is happening both internally and externally. Like what your life looks like, your daily life may be completely different than what it once was. Your perspective on life is shifting, your priorities are changing, your heart is being cracked wide open, and you're growing, you're changing, you're evolving. What you may have believed to be true in the past no longer resonates. And you're sitting there thinking, well, how do I feel about it? What do I have to say about it? And it's hard to know in the midst of the chaos because you're still trying to make sense of it all yourself. So what does that mean for your art? What do you do when you're feeling so disconnected from the old way of expressing yourself or the old way of using your voice? And those old things that used to light you up, the old things you wrote, the music you used to sing, none of it is feeling alive to you anymore. Like you're just disconnected from it. It doesn't resonate anymore. But maybe it feels a bit intimidating to tap into the new. Or you're just unsure of what the new looks like for you at all. Maybe you don't feel ready to share this new perspective because you're still just figuring it out yourself. I'm getting this image of an earthquake. You're in the midst of this earthquake. And it's like, well, do you take cover or do you run from cover? Like if everything is crumbling down around you, do you run out to this wide open space and expose yourself? That can feel really vulnerable. Or do you curl up and huddle and try to find a shield of protection that can keep you safe? And you're going back and forth in your mind, but meanwhile, like you're too busy watching these falling objects and dodging the crumbling walls to even think about rebuilding or creating something new from the rubble. Like, do you just hold on for dear life and wait it out until it all feels still again? Yeah, these seasons of change can feel a lot like an earthquake. And I've found that there are seasons of the voice. Just as there are cycles of the creative process and phases of growth, stages of life, there are seasons that our voice goes through as we are growing and evolving and changing as human beings. That's reflected in the human instrument itself. These seasons of the voice mirror the 4 seasons of winter, spring, summer, and fall. And of course, in each of these seasons, there are also transitions in between them. So at any point in that cycle, you can find yourself in a season of change. It's important not to judge which season we're in, but rather to embrace it, to lean into where you are and allow it to be whatever it is that you need it to be. In today's episode, I'm really going to highlight the space between the old of autumn and the new of spring. What can feel like a dark, cold winter, but is anything but. I'll give you 3 steps to find your voice again as you navigate this winter season or this reinvention or your next evolution as a singer, an artist, a musician. And these are steps that you can return to and apply over and over again because creativity, as with life, comes in cycles. So what may feel like the end of an era, the end of an old version of you, is really just a new beginning. If nothing else, I hope this can help you embrace where you are and know that where you are is not where you will end up. And that where you are is okay. And there's something there of beauty, and there's something there to be celebrated and to learn from and to enjoy. So our focus today will be that somewhere in between the autumn, where the old is falling away, and spring, where the new is emerging. So yes, between autumn and spring, we have winter. And winter can feel so desolate. It can feel so cold. It can feel isolating. Maybe you feel numb. Or maybe you feel like you're just going to burst at the seams. There's so much in there, but the ground is too frozen to allow it to come through. But the beauty of winter is the potency of the silence, that space from which music emerges. This is the fertile void. This is the rest within the music. Where would music be without that silence, without that rest? The frozen tundra holds life. There are seeds there that survive through the winter. Things are happening underneath, even if we can't see it yet. When the time and the elements are just right, comes springtime, that seed is going to be ready to come through and emerge and start to show the little leaves and the little buds. And, then summer rolls around and that full bloom, that full expression is coming forth. And, you're spreading that pollen out into the ethers and drawing the bees in. But then there's the autumn. Evolution, change, shift, the pivot. The form your voice takes may change, or you may feel like it's changing, like something needs to change. You're shedding the old, the former. The old stuff just doesn't resonate anymore. Maybe it just feels like another lifetime and you don't feel connected to it anymore. Just as the leaves disconnect from the branches of a tree and fall to the ground in the autumn. This season of the voice can feel a lot like that. Like you grew from this amazing trunk and reached these branches and came into full bloom, and suddenly the colors are changing and you feel parts of you breaking and crumbling, and then you fall away. And you find yourself in a new place, wondering, well, what now? As a Christian, I can't help but think of the Bible verse from Isaiah 43:18 and 19. And it says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." So that frozen tundra of winter, what may feel like a wasteland, there are streams being made What may feel like a wilderness, there is a path, there is a way that's being made, even if you can't see it yet. We get so caught up in the past sometimes. Who we thought we were supposed to become, or what we thought we were going to do with our life, or our voice, or our music, like what we thought it was supposed to sound like. That we totally miss this dawning of a new era, this awakening to a new way of being, a new way of singing, a new way of creating. I beat myself up for the longest time for stepping away from opera, for letting go of the old. I beat myself up for things in the past, not seeing that this was a new beginning. We're in a new season. So of course the way we create and the art itself and how we feel about it, all of these things have shifted. But what if we don't know yet where the new is taking us? And we don't feel that sense of direction. You can feel like you're wandering, just lost in that wilderness. Maybe you're afraid to tap into it, that unknown territory. We're entering into a new season, a new territory, a new phase. And that can be really scary because we don't know what it holds. But be here now in this winter for a moment with me. What if these moments or periods of rest and reflection are exactly what's needed? And what if it's okay to go through these bouts of feeling disconnected from the art that used to light you up, or feeling like you have nothing to say, or like there's too much to say, or even just feeling numb? Like, what if all of that is okay and needed and necessary and part of the process? There is so much happening beneath the surface that is unseen. Even when in the silence of winter, there are seeds beneath that frozen tundra just waiting for the right time to crack open and rise. So what can you do in this winter season, or this in-between place of not anymore, but not yet? Well, here are 3 steps you can take to reconnect with your voice and creativity as you navigate this season of change. Number 1, reflection. Reflect on where you've been and find a way to let go. So for me, this letting go, this was, I took a symbolic action of getting rid of a lot of opera scores. So it was hard because, I worked so hard towards that. I had seen that as my life trajectory. And I had to let go of that when I realized it was no longer aligning with who I was becoming. So what symbolic action can you take that shows you're letting go of the old? Number 2, embrace your current season. This is where you are. So there needs to be a releasing of judgment and being honest with yourself and accepting. So this honesty and acceptance. And I found that the most direct way of being honest with myself for me comes through writing and journaling. Through putting these thoughts and feelings into words, I'm able to excavate what is true, like what I'm feeling, what I'm perceiving, and also what am I not saying? This is huge. What are you not saying? What are you afraid to say? Where are you not letting yourself go there? So there needs to be a moment of honesty with yourself, honest about where you are and how you feel about it. But it's hard to know if you're not looking. And it can be hard to look at. I know. This is the tough stuff. But in straddling that border, you're halfway between one life and another. You're in this in-between place, and you need to find a way to be okay with that. Like, half of me is coming and half of me is going, and I'm just here in the middle. Well, write about it. Keep going until you get to the place where you're not allowing yourself to go. Go within to uncover the truth. The best way I've found to do this is like stream of consciousness writing. If you've read The Artist's Way, you'll know about the morning pages. But the morning pages are just like your writing stream of consciousness to just let things flow out of, like, clear the way, clear out all the gunk. You let all the gunk out and you're uncovering the truth of what's underneath all of it. Number 3, exploration and play. This is the daydreaming and the experimentation phase where you're asking yourself, like, well, what's pulling me forward? What new thing is enticing to you? Maybe you want to buy a new instrument or dust off an old one and use it in a new light. Dip your toe into something new that's calling to you. Maybe it's a new genre, a new style, a new art form even. Maybe it's a song idea that you've been putting off or avoiding, but it keeps showing up. And notice how I say dip your toe. Like, you don't have to go all in. You're just doing a tasting. You're not chugging the bottle of wine before you know whether or not you like it. You're sipping, you're observing, you're experiencing the different notes, the different flavors. You don't have to know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're simply exploring. You're playing, you're leaning into your curiosity, and you're taking it all lightly. And this exploration leads to discovery, of course. Exploration leads to discovery. What you will discover, who knows? It'll be different every time, and it'll be different for every person and in each season. But this exploration and this play, that's what leads to this discovery of where you're feeling drawn to. So the invitation here is to go through these 3 steps. Number 1, reflection, where you've been, and symbolically letting go of that in your own way. Number 2, embracing your current season, being really honest with yourself about where you are and releasing the judgment around that, whatever it is, coming to acceptance, going within to uncover the truth. Through writing, journaling, maybe it's something different for you. But I've found the writing to be very powerful. And number 3, exploration and play. You're experimenting with the new. You don't have to totally commit to one path and stick to it, and that's what you're doing in this new season. No, like you're exploring. You're just playing. You're seeing what sparks something in you and kind of following that to see where it leads. So you take it lightly and have fun and play. So these 3 steps can help you uncover some of the truth of what's holding you back, or what's feeling really heavy to you, so that you can begin to open your eyes and see that there is a new season on the horizon, that those little seeds are making their way to the surface to open up and spread that pollen far and wide. But that's another season. Be where you are, embrace the season you're in, and enjoy the ride. Hey friend, thank you so much for listening. If this episode unlocked something in you or moved you in some way, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're streaming this, and share this episode with a friend who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough. Until we meet again, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.